Mathematicians, welcome back for another week. We are here for another topic, and let me show you something interesting in my kitchen. Here we go. Nothing here but coffee and toast. That's what I live on. And I have my nice solid measuring jug here and a scale, which I'm going to turn on now. And it's not going to measure the scale, not going to measure the jug because the jug started on there. You can see this is our, is it volume or capacity? Capacity is how much it can hold, and volume is how much space it takes up. So we are measuring the the volume of this water. Here we go. So watch this. I'm gonna fill this up, and we're gonna see. It's gonna measure the mil for us, and we can check it because the scale isn't super accurate, but we can check it on the jug itself. Look at that, 200 mil on the scale. And, well, it's gonna be hard to do this, but when it looks like it's slightly over 200, and I can't really get the camera, well, there we go, okay. So you measure it from the bottom of that water surface top thing, and there it is, exactly 200. Now, watch this magic scale. I'm gonna change it to mass, to grams. Oh, it's just stuffed up a little bit. And it is, because my scale's not accurate, the mil and the grams are the same. They are, there we go. Now it's measuring it properly. 206 mil is the same as 206, account for the variation in the scale, grams as well. So the mil and the grams are exactly the same. What the heck, man? Magic. So there you go, mathematicians. What a weird thing, hey? That exactly 1 mil of water weighs that many grams. God has set up the world like that. So you can automatically know that 1 liter of water is 1 kilogram in mass. So, interesting. Now, this is a topic that's going to challenge your attention to detail. It is all about the units. And if the units are wrong, the answer is wrong. So if you don't have the right units, you don't have the right answer. It's all about the units. Sometimes I can give half marks in other topics if you haven't put the units in. But in this one, the unit is the whole answer. So make sure you get it right. Excuse me. Now, there are 3 different things we're looking at in MG2. They are volume, capacity, and mass. And they are all slightly different. I want you to remember it like this. Volume, even though we're not talking about sound volume, volume means how much space something takes up. So that's why I put that emoji there. So volume equals how much space something takes up. I want you to imagine the volume rings, these things, spreading out and filling up the whole space. So that's what volume is, how much space something takes up. Capacity is how much something can hold. Make sure you've got this in your books because you're going to need it all the time. And I put a hat for this because I want you to remember capacity. So this is a hat that Mrs. Sheehan owns, and it's from Melbourne 2006, the Commonwealth Games. And, oh, there we go. 2006, I bet you weren't even born then. Nope, you were definitely not born then. And if we were in class, this is what I was going to do. I like doing this one. I'm going to, I would put this over someone's head, and then I'd fill it up and see how much water it can hold before it starts leaking onto someone. So that's the capacity, how much something can hold. I want you to think about the hat. How much something can hold in the cap is the capacity. And last one, mass, which is the easiest one, which is how much something weighs. Now, what I want you to picture for that is all these tiny, tiny atoms that make up an object, like this water bottle lid, all the tiny, tiny atoms that make up this object. The bigger an item is, usually, the more atoms there are in it, and so that's adding to its weight. Obviously, different atoms weigh different amounts depending on what sort of atom it is, but how much something weighs is the mass, how much there is. So you can remember that with the two M's. And there you go, year 5. That is the strategy, volume, capacity, mass. It is all about the units. Volume, how much space something takes up, all the volume spreading out. Cap, capacity, how much something can hold, how much it can hold. And mass, how much something weighs, how much stuff is in there, how many atoms are in there. So let's do a quick example. This is sipping, and it's a great thing that we're starting on sipping again because it's a really good warm-up. If you end up finishing it quickly, that's a great sign that you're ready to go on to smiling because you've got the concept, but it's always good to start with sipping. This is where the measurements are really important. It gives you the example on the jug. It has, the capacity is 1 liter. So how much can it hold? Cap, how much can the cap hold? We're not looking at the water level here because that's not how much it can hold. The most it can hold is 1 liter. So 1 liter is the capacity. 100 centimeters cubed. That's our weird little unit for volume. And it's important, year 5. If you give the volume, if you just say centimeters, I cannot give you a full mark. It's got to be, you guys can just put the 3 after it because I know you mean centimeters cubed. That's the volume, how much space something takes up. And when we're measuring space, we are still measuring how far everything is from each other, like measuring a cube. And so that's how we measure volume, centimeters in 3 directions. That's what the 3 is for. That's how we measure volume. And for water, we know that 100 centimeters cubed equals 100 grams. They're the same amount, but a different unit. So we're measuring this in grams. Let me separate this so it's a bit easier to read. So mass is grams. Make sure you put the grams or kilograms. And capacity, we have either milliliters or liters, grams or kilograms. Then year 5, we come to this other question. Let's do this one all together. Same capacity. It's a 1 liter jug. They're not all going to be 1 liter, but these two are. Now it's filled up to this line. So that's 200 mil, the volume. How much space? Volume is the volume rings. How much space it takes up. Actually, that's wrong. That should be centimeters cubed. Oh, iMaths, what is wrong with you? Wrong, 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 wrong. Should be centimeters cubed. Yes, 100% should be centimeters cubed. So ignore that. And this will be a test to see if you notice this in the video. And then mass is in grams as before. 200 mil equals 200 grams. There you go. And then that would be the same for this one over here. Same amount of volume is the same amount of grams. But you've got to be careful with that year 5 because this is the last thing I'll tell you. When we are doing the small units together, so when we've got centimeters cubed, actually let's just do it with milliliters at the moment. Milliliters is like the small unit of capacity. Yes, capacity. See, even I have to think about it. Milliliters is the small one. Also, grams is the small one. So those ones is 1 mil equals 1 gram. The small ones go together. But if we start to use the big measurements, like 1 liter, you can't just automatically go from capacity to mass like that with the same number. They need to be the same type of units. Are they the small ones or are they the big ones? This is a big one, so it means we're going to have a bigger mass unit as well. Okay, that's very, very important because sometimes I see people say, oh, 1,000 milliliters, that equals 1 gram because you can go, actually, sorry, that's a bad example. 1 liter equals 1 gram. So they've gone from the big unit to the small unit. And you can't do that because actually 1 liter is actually 1,000 milliliters, which would then be 1,000 grams. So if you're converting these units, if you're figuring out which one equals what, you've got to use the small units together. A milliliter of capacity is a gram, and a liter of capacity is a kilogram, because these are the big units. These are both 1,000. So 1,000 mil and 1,000 grams. There you go, year 5. It's going to take some practice. Even I have to stop and think about it all the time. But if you remember this little strategy, volume, how much space something takes up, spreading out. Capacity, how much something can hold, like the capacity of the jug or capacity of a cap. And mass, how much something weighs, how much stuff is in there. And that's measured in grams or kilos. And last thing, you could probably write this down, small units to small units, big units to big units. Small units, for example, milliliters, to small units, grams, and big units, liters, to big units, kilograms. Okay, so don't turn milliliters into kilograms, don't turn liters into grams. They've got to be both got to be the same size of units, small units or big units. There we go, year 5. Okay, have a go. Let me know how you go. Join the Math Zoom call, and I will see you soon.